would not feel better soon. Minutes after hanging up with police, her condition takes a drastic turn for the worse. Doctors discover she's suffering from internal bleeding, and she needs emergency surgery to survive.
They had to airlift her to another hospital. She declined fast, and she unfortunately passed away before they could even operate on her for the internal bleeding.
Ashley Bocanegra is transported to the medical examiner for an autopsy.
It all happened so fast. 1 minute, she was talking to police, and the next, she was suddenly gone.
30-year-old Ashley Bocanegra was a New York native and mother to a 7-year-old son who she shared with her boyfriend, Julian Reyes.
She was a good person. She was very lovable. She'll give you the shirt off of her back. But Ashley did have a little attitude where she don't like you know what I'm saying? You know when she don't like you know? So, but she ain't never go looking for problems. She was a beautiful person.
She was very funny, a very sweet personality, but feisty at the same time.
Ashley grew up in the South Bronx, and life was tough from the start.
I'm her older sister / mama. Me and Ashley was raised in foster care from babies. Ashley was 4, I was 6 when we got taken away. My mom was having, you know, difficulties doing things that she wasn't supposed to. So me and Ashley, we was in the system.
In foster care, Ashley's big sister became her lifeline.
So me and Ashley, we had to fight basically most of our life, you know. I basically took care of her until she got a little older.
Years later, Ashley was back home with their mother and in a new relationship.
She met Julian during like her junior high school. So that was like her little junior high school sweetheart. They came out here to Atlanta. My sister was having a better life out here, honestly. I think it was way better. She was really happy.
Eventually, Ashley and Julian had a little boy, Ethan.
She loved her son. Like Ethan was her, like they was literally best friends.
She was very caring, very patient with him. She would play with him no matter what. She was like an all-in mom, like her whole world evolved around him. Everybody don't get their mom's attention in that fashion, so I felt like that was dope.
Ashley wanted to give her son a good life, far different from the one she had growing up.
We wasn't raised with our parents. And as we got older, we still teaching ourselves how to be a woman, how to be a wife, how to work, how to just cope with life. And she was doing a hell of a good job.
Ashley got a job as manager at a hardware store in Gwinnett County.
She always had manager positions, as she should. You know, she had the mentality as a boss.
In Beaufort, Ashley was trying to build something for herself and for her son. But now, her life has tragically been cut short, and her son has lost his mother forever. After conducting an autopsy, the medical examiner has ruled Ashley's death a murder, and her attack had been exceptionally brutal.
The autopsy revealed that the adrenal gland was shattered and Ashley bled out due to the attack. For Ashley's adrenal gland to shatter, that definitely means that she received blunt force trauma.
You have to be hit very hard to rupture your adrenal gland. And, you know, and she's very tiny already.
What had been an assault complaint minutes earlier has just taken a serious turn.
Now we have what we in Georgia call a murder, a homicide.
Ashley had told police she was targeted in a case of mistaken identity, but investigators question that when they learn about her injuries.
This doesn't seem like a random attack. This definitely seems personal.
But who would want to attack someone like her?
Investigators wonder the same, and the first person they want to ask is Ashley's boyfriend, Julian Reyes.
The police were definitely intrigued.
He was a significant other at the home, bringing her to the hospital, and so law enforcement immediately turned their sights to Julian Reyes as a potential suspect.
On August 11th, 2022, the quiet town of Beaufort, Georgia, was rocked by violence when 30-year-old Ashley Bocanegra was viciously attacked. The assault was so brutal that she later died from internal bleeding, leaving behind her 7-year-old son. Her boyfriend, Julian Reyes, had rushed her to the ER, but now police want to talk to him.
The police begin their investigation, and the first person that they investigate is Ashley's partner, Julian. He's at the hospital waiting on her.
How you doing, sir? First, just want to say I'm really sorry for your loss. We're going to do everything we can to find the people responsible.
Oh, man.
I know this is really difficult right now.
Doesn't even seem real. It's like...
Julian tells investigators Ashley called him at work and told him she'd been attacked.
Did she tell you who did this to her?
She told me 2 females.
Did she describe them?
One was a dark-skinned, heavy-set woman. And then one was a light-skinned woman. That's all she said.
Julian says as he rushed Ashley to the hospital, she continued telling him what happened.
They kicked me in my ribs while the big, heavy-set one was on top of her. The other one was kicking her. Why would anybody want to do that? You know, it's like random. She was going out to get me a birthday cake. Today's my birthday. She went out to get me a birthday cake. It just happened, you know, and we have a 7-year-old son. And I have to go to my son.
Julian appears genuinely distraught, and his version of events matches Ashley's account. But police wonder, could the couple have coordinated their stories? Had Ashley been covering for Julian? Did the couple have a history of domestic abuse? When police talk to Ashley's family, they get some answers.
We visited Atlanta a couple of times, and we tried to visit Ashley at Beaufort, and she was like, oh no, it's not good timing.
They had a few physical fights. That's why my sister was so scared when he would come home and she'll be on the phone with a family member.
While investigators consider that Julian may have had something to do with Ashley's death, they chase down another lead after learning the ER nurse wasn't the only one to call 911 the day Ashley was attacked.
Yes, ma'am. This is 911. I'm returning a call.
Hi, I work here at the apartment complex, and there was 2 girls fighting, and she's really bloody. I can see the blood from where I'm at.
A security guard at the Preston Hills Apartments called 911 to report that she was witnessing an assault.
And you said one of them is bleeding?
Yeah, I can see her forehead from down here is bleeding. The girl had her on the ground. It's a black girl, and I can't tell if it's 2 white girls or 2 Spanish girls.
Investigators speak to the officers that responded to the 911 call and learn that the woman in the apartment is Antonetta Stevens.
The police visits Antonetta's home for questioning, and Antonetta comes out to the door.
She says she lives there with her fiance, Daniel Gonzalez, and their 2-year-old son. And it didn't take long for her to admit that she fought with Ashley. When the officers ask why the women fought, Antonetta is quick to tell them. She says Daniel was cheating on her with Ashley.
She explained to the police that it was a mutual fight, that Ashley came to her apartment and picked a fight.
Officers filed a report and went on their way. That is, until Ashley succumbed to her injuries. Police make a second visit to Antonetta's apartment in the early morning hours of August 12th. And they're surprised to see something that could take the investigation in an entirely different direction.
They noticed that Daniel had scratches on his body.
This obviously would raise concerns for law enforcement in terms of his level of engagement. Preston Hill apartment complex appeared to be a pretty massive apartment complex, such that individuals could live in the same complex and never see one another, right? And so it appears that the way it is not made on flat land, that it is made on a very hilly land, which has allowed the complex to have different buildings. And that allowed the young ladies in this situation to maintain their distance from one another, such that Ms. Stevens never even knew that her partner or significant other had been in a potential affair.
Every
Gwinnett County Police are investigating the murder of Ashley Bocanegra, who was viciously assaulted outside the Preston Hills apartment complex. A 911 call led police to the home of 27-year-old Antonetta Stevens, who admits she and 17-year-old Janine Gonzalez fought Ashley. Police had no choice but to drop the matter until Ashley succumbed to her injuries.
Now, the investigation pivots to a homicide investigation. They immediately return to the apartment.
This time they have different news. They come back to the apartment, knock on the door. Antonetta comes back to the door with her sister-in-law, Janine.
Hey, I'm Detective Carter with Gwinnett County Police. Are you your internet?
Yes, hi.
Hey, this is Detective Poppy, or Sergeant Poppy.
Hi, nice to meet you.
We know that there was like an incident that happened earlier today. Has anyone called you about it since?
No. Was somebody supposed to?
Well, we just got another call about it. So I guess the girl went to the hospital and she died.
She died?
She's dead. So, but we know that there was like an altercation that happened beforehand.
And that was mutual and she came here.
Yeah, we understand that.
Yeah.
So, but because of it.
I wasn't going to kill anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not that person.
I get it.
Yeah.
But because of that, we have to kind of talk to you guys and get a more formal statement.
Sure, okay. Wow, I'm so sorry about that. That was
Antonetta immediately says that she's sorry. It didn't really sound very empathetic. It just sounded like she just was saying it because she knew that was the right thing to say.
Are you the sister? His sister? Okay.
And Janine really didn't say much. You know, she even had a little smirk behind her.
I've been mentally going through a lot. I came here with my fiance to start a new life, buy a house, everything like that, and I never expected him to basically cheat on me with someone at the workplace. You know what I'm saying?
That's not a justification. That's not an excuse for murder.
We gotta get off.
Detectives ask both women to come to headquarters to make a formal statement, and they agree. But before investigators leave, they want to speak to Daniel.
You know Ashley?
Yes, sir.
How do you know Ashley?
You know, you got him emotional relationship.
Okay.
Daniel tells detectives that Ashley is his manager at Floor and Decor, where he works.
All right. So they had the altercation earlier this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, which you don't know anything about.
No, I was informed that while I'm sleeping, she rendered my phone to my phone.
While interviewing Daniel, detectives see something that makes them question if Daniel is telling them the whole story.
It looks as if Daniel has bruises and/or scratches on his body. He now could be a suspect.
Daniel tells police that on the day Ashley was murdered, after working the night shift, he went to the gym and then came home to take a nap.
Antonetta uses this opportunity to go through Daniel's phone. What she finds is racy text messages, flirtatious photos, plans between the two to raise their children together, to move out.
Daniel says Antonetta was angry when she saw the texts between him and Ashley. She started texting Ashley from his phone.
Well, she had basically me, and she said, hey, so she kicked me out and come meet me. She used basically her emotional, the way she feels towards me.
So she asked her to come over, she was pretending to be you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then what?
Daniel allows investigators to take his phone and download the messages. He goes on to say he only found out about the fight when he was awakened by loud banging on his front door.
After the altercation, Ashley follows Antonetta and Janine back to the apartment because they have her phone. So she's banging on the door, giving my phone. They're yelling from inside, we're not giving your phone.
Daniel says when he opened the door, he was surprised to see Ashley on the other side.
He's thinking like, oh my God, what's going on? But not only that, Ashley is bloody. She is, beaten. She has bruises, she has bite marks.
Daniel says he tried to wrestle Ashley's phone away from Antonetta.
Antonetta is still upset, so she starts hitting on him, beating him on his back.
Daniel tells police that's how he got the scratches and bruises. But eventually, he got Ashley's phone back.
He hands her phone. She takes the phone, and then Ashley goes back home. She walks back across the apartment complex to her home.
Daniel says that's the last time he saw Ashley, but that they texted moments later. He shares those with detectives as well.
It turns out that it was those kicks by Janine that turned out to be the fatal blow for Ashley Bocanegra.
As the questioning continues on his doorstep, Daniel grows increasingly worried about Ashley.
So they're questioning him, they're asking him about the bruises, and he's more concerned about Ashley.
Is she hurt?
Oh, I feel
Like real bad?
So,
Honestly, I'm not gonna make a show. I'm not gonna go and yell. I'm not gonna go call it. I just want to know.
yeah, we got a call from the hospital a little while ago, and she actually passed away. So.
Bro, stop playing with me,
No,
please.
seriously.
Please stop playing with me.
Sit.
Please stop playing
Sit down,
with me.
sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down.
He could not believe it. It was devastating.
They would talk every day, all day. They was best friends. Anytime Ashley needed a vent, anytime he needed to vent, they was there for each other. All I know is that he was in love with her, and she was in love with him.
Investigators rule Daniel out as a suspect and turn their attention to Antonetta and Janine, who they have just transported to the police station. But will the women play ball and talk, or will they stonewall?
She knew the severity of what was going on at this time and probably knew that there was a chance that if she said too much that she could get in some type of trouble.
But we just need you to wait in here, okay?
Okay, so you wanted to talk to your mom? Okay, so I just want to let you know you're going to be charged with the fight. It's going to be ag battery. Okay. We do have to take your phone for evidence. Okay. But I do want you to have your phone call.
So am I going to jail?
Yeah.
Next, police turn their attention to Janine.
I'm Detective Carter. This is Detective Mariah. He's still trying to get filled in on everything. Okay. He's the lead detective, so he's gonna do most of the talking. But I'm just in here because I'm kind of familiar with it. But I'm here too, so.
Detectives read Janine her rights, and unlike Antonetta, she doesn't hold back.
Let's go ahead.
Buffalo.
Buffalo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in college?
I'm a senior.
Senior in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're just visiting?
Yeah.
Janine says it had been a rocky summer staying with Daniel and Antonetta because the couple was having relationship troubles and arguing every day.
So, my brother, him being a man, cheats. Like always, he's feeling less than, he thinks it's okay to cheat, so, he tells me. So, he tells me who's he cheating with and stuff.
Janine says she had to tell Antonetta.
My sister-in-law, we're very close, like, so close, like, you understand. Like, she's more of a sister to me than my brother's a brother to me,
Oh,
Yeah.
very
So,
nice.
like, we're very close.
Yeah.
So, once he told me, I was just like, ooh, I just felt her.
It's girl code.
Yes, right?
Janine says when she told Antonetta about Daniel's other woman, she was furious. Then, by chance, she and Antonetta saw Daniel and Ashley together the night before Ashley died.
As we're walking to Quick Trip, the both of them are walking together from Quick Trip. So they're just now leaving, and we're just now coming. So Antonetta's like, is that Daniel walking? So now she runs to him like, who is this?
Antonetta immediately goes to them and confronts what's going on. They have, a verbal exchange. Meanwhile, Daniel is saying, this is my boss. There's nothing going on. You're tripping. You're overreacting.
She and Antonetta left without incident. But on the way home, Janine confirmed that was Ashley Bocanegra, Daniel's other woman.
So that starts the whole domino.
Janine's interview with investigators was a stark contrast from Antonetta's.
Antonetta Stevens was very guarded, was emotionless. Janine was very talkative. She was free-flowing with information when asked. Although there were times where she was dishonest and held back, she offered a lot more information than Antonetta Stevens.
But while she appears to be cooperating, investigators find her demeanor troubling.
She smiled, she laughed, she put her feet in the chair.
She was messing with her hair. She was even yawning. She was very immature about the situation.
And then Janine slips up.
Did you guys text her?
What do you mean?
Did you guys send messages to her?
No, we don't got her number.
No, I mean from his phone.
Oh, from his phone?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because you messed up your story a little bit. I already read the messages. You messed up a little bit.
What was the messages?
He wasn't getting kicked out.
Oh, yes, he was.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. What the hell?
She had no idea the ramifications of her actions or the consequences that were about to come.
Gwinnett County Police are questioning 17-year-old Janine Gonzalez about the attack on Ashley Bocanegra, which she participated in. While Janine appears to be cooperating, investigators are a bit troubled by her demeanor.
Janine's investigative interview was off-putting. It was concerning for law enforcement. She was very disconnected from the reality that a murder had just been committed.
And they know she isn't telling them the whole story. Janine tells police that after the run-in with Daniel and Ashley, Antonetta decided to kick Daniel out, and she put her plan in motion the very next morning.
She don't want to live with him no more. It's either he gonna leave or she's gonna leave. And she gotta leave with the kids and everything. So it would make sense if he just left.
Janine says that's when Daniel texted Ashley.
And then, I guess she was coming to see him. He was getting kicked out. Antonetta saw the messages. So, she decides, now she's about to come see you. Now I'm about to beat her up. Because you.
What Janine doesn't know Daniel has already told the detectives a different version of events.
Because you messed up your story a little bit. I already read the messages. You messed up a little bit.
What was the messages?
He wasn't getting kicked out.
Yes, he was.
Caught in a lie, Janine changes up her story.
I only saw the messages where he was cheating. So I'm not sure if anybody texted her.
For sure?
You know? Yeah.
So Antoinette just sent the messages
I'm
first?
positive myself. I'm positive. But yeah, I don't know if there's any messages sent to that lady. Because I can't say I didn't know if there's messages sent.
You were with her when she was still texting
him.
You were still with her when she was texting her. I know you guys were sending messages.
Janine caves. She says Antonetta sent the messages from Daniel's phone. With that admission, investigators shift their questioning to the fight.
Who was fighting?
The girl Antonetta.
Everybody?
No.
Girl, you ain't get on it?
No. Yeah.
Of course you did. I know you did.
Just a little bit.
You got
Janine tries to downplay her involvement.
I didn't go crazy though, cause she's small as hell. Like, you're enough already. I don't need to be punching her, dragging her. I don't need to do all that. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I give her a little hit and then that's it. No. She got on the floor, and I kind of like dragged her just a little bit.
But detectives suspect Janine played a much larger role.
So you clearing your charges?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. It's robbery.
Robbery? Oh, what? Robbery?
Yeah.
We didn't steal her phone. We took it so she could come to the house.
Oh, you took it?
Yeah,
You didn't steal
she
it.
got her phone back. I told you she wasn't leaving unless we gave her back her phone. We just did it so we could call her husband before we changed our mind.
Okay.
Yeah, for a day. She got her phone back.
She said it was okay for you to take it?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's a robbery. The other charge is murder.
Murder?
Yep. You're being charged with murder.
Me?
Yep.
That's too
deep.
bad.
That's deep, right?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
No. What? Murder?
She was like, me? And so that's when she kind of realized it was serious, but she still didn't take it, like, serious.
Was she posing?
Police tell Janine they need to keep her phone because it's evidence.
They had no idea the bombshell they were about to find on her phone. One that would change everything.
Detectives find a long video shot earlier that day, almost 15 minutes in length. In the video, detectives see Antonetta texting Ashley from Daniel's phone.
Antonetta is asking Janine, should I send it this way? Should I say this? Should I say that? Although Janine is not sending the text messages, she is assisting and curating what the messages would say. Janine is holding the camera, filming everything that is happening.
A crucial role when it came to explaining how Ashley even got there. Ashley was led to believe she was there to help her friend Daniel, but Ashley was set up.
As detectives keep viewing, they see something else, something almost too hard to watch.
This was not a mutual combat situation. This was an old-fashioned ambush.
You want some of this, Janine? Yeah, I do.
I believe that Antonetta Stevens did the absolute right thing when she asked for a lawyer. Most Black and brown people are unaware of how the judicial system works and the importance of having counsel to guide you through the process. And so it is extremely important that whenever interacting with law enforcement, that you have legal counsel available to you, whether or not you can afford one or whether one needs to be appointed to you. Your freedom is at risk. At all times. If law enforcement is talking to you, they're not talking to you because they want to be your friend. They're talking to you because they believe that you have information that may be helpful to something that they're investigating. And so you
Gwinnett County Police have charged Antonetta Stevens and Janine Gonzalez with the murder of Ashley Bocanegra. Both women have been arrested and taken into custody. But it's only after police take Janine's phone that they discover a bombshell. Janine filmed the entire attack, as well as Antonetta texting Ashley from Daniel's phone.
In the text messages, Antonetta told Ashley where to meet her. Meet me by the trash can. And so as Ashley is approaching, Janine is filming.
Antonetta, she just had a jealous rage. She seemed red because this woman is taking her man away from her family.
Ashley tries to fight back, but Antonetta overpowers her. Then, things take an even more dangerous turn.
During the entire ordeal, it seems like Janine was a supporting character. And it's not until in the middle of the fight that Antonetta asked Janine, do you want some of this?
You want some of this, Janine? Yeah, I do.
She goes in and kicks at minimum 2 times.
What detectives have seen on Janine's phone leaves no question that she and Antonetta ambushed Ashley in a violent assault.
Babe, don't do this again, because you're gonna have to make me fight another.
The best evidence that you can have is film. That speaks volumes. There's no need to try to explain exactly what you see. You just see it. You could hear her say things that cut out all type of defenses.
I will murder you. I will murder you.
What most people don't understand is that premeditation and malice can be created in a split second.
When the case is presented before a grand jury 2 days later, the charges against the women increase.
Both Antoinette and Janine were charged with a 5-count indictment. That was consisting of malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, 1 count of aggravated battery, and 1 count of robbery by force.
Both women were looking at life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Since Janine is so young, her family is desperate to get her charges reduced, arguing she didn't mean to kill Ashley, and she didn't play a significant role in her assault.
Unfortunately, the text that Ashley sent to Daniel proved differently. She told Daniel that if it wasn't for his sister kicking her, she would have been fine.
Janine's attorney was unsuccessful in getting the charges against her reduced, but the defense thinks it still has something working in its favor.
Antoinette said, I did not intend for her to die. That in and of itself can negate the element of malice and a forethought.
As a result, both Antonetta and Janine are offered a plea deal.
The defense and the prosecutor agreed for a plea of a reduced charge from murder to voluntary manslaughter.
Ashley's family was outraged about the offer.
How is that not murder? They said all we did was have a fight. She was able to walk away on her own. We were trying to kill her. She wouldn't have been able to walk away on her own. We would have killed her right then and there.
That claim quickly fell apart after the prosecution gained access to another video. This one from Ashley's door camera, captured moments after the fight.
Ashley, surprisingly, is able to make it back to her apartment after the fight.
Moments later, after changing her clothes, Ashley appears outside again.
Ashley is suffering. She's suffering from things that she's not even aware of.
In the end, Antonetta and Janine accept the plea deal for voluntary manslaughter. Both women are sentenced to 20 years in prison. Additionally, they are charged with robbery by force, which carries another 20 years, to be served concurrently. Both are eligible for release no earlier than August 2042. While Ashley's family doesn't doubt Daniel's love for her, they hold him partly responsible for her death.
He was living 2 lives, basically, and behind him not being honest, he ruined the life of, like, a lot of people. The person he loved is now not here. The mother of his kids is now doing 20 years. His little sister's now doing 20 years. Was it worth it?
I don't think there's no healing. Ashley could never come back. I will never have my sister again.
Ashley's partner, Julian, who was cleared early on as a suspect in her death, is raising their 10-year-old son.
I think it's the heinousness of the crime, almost tribal, and it's based upon one woman.
Antonetta did what she did for her man in a desperate attempt to hang on to him and their family. But instead, she lost it all.
Maybe we should think a little bit longer before taking action, because we never know what the results from our action will be.
When hearts collide, someone is bound to break. And chasing love at all costs can turn passion into tragedy, leaving nothing but devastation behind.
She was a dedicated nurse and a married mother of 2.
She always was looking to take care of others. She loved being a mom.
She really seemed to have a good head on her shoulders.
But then, her husband comes home to a horrifying scene.
There's blood all over the place.
She had been stabbed.
And there's a sinister warning left behind.
There's a message written in her blood.
That message said, "You are next."
When I saw what they wrote, I knew it.
Was it the key to the mystery?
There was a fight at the club.
It was chaos.
He fired some shots in the air. You sure about this?
She gotta go.
He thought it was retaliation.
They came for me, I know it.
Or was the killer just covering their tracks?
Questions start arising in your mind.
There has been some drama.
I told her what could possibly happen.
There's something off.
And someone knows the truth.
He could hear a person struggling like they were trying to breathe.
Go on, kill her.
He couldn't hide behind his lies anymore.
February 13th, 2007. It's early Tuesday morning in Wendell, North Carolina. This quaint town of 5,000, a half-hour east of Raleigh.
Raleigh is North Carolina's capital. It is home of 1.5 million metro urban residents.
For some folks, Raleigh is too big, and that's why somebody might want to go to a place like Wendell.
But for one family in this sleepy southern town, this Tuesday morning is anything but quiet.
Anika, my gosh.
A little bit after 6 o'clock in the morning, Jakeem Wilson called 911.
911, what is your emergency?
I just got home and my wife, I found her.
She's sprawled out on the kitchen floor, bleeding.
I think she was stabbed.
Raleigh native Nanika Sutton had always put other people first.
Nika was just known to be a loving individual. She took care of her family.
She was just a wonderful person, inside and out, beautiful, beautiful soul.
Nanika's compassion was only rivaled by her sense of responsibility.
She was mature beyond her years, way beyond her years.
You think about a young person, probably not even thinking about the future. Nika was the opposite. She was somebody who had a vision for exactly how she wanted her life to turn out.
After graduating from high school, Nanika enrolled in a college nursing program.
She loved to help people, so much so that she became a certified nurse assistant.
She was also a hard worker who quickly started putting money away for her future.
But at this very young age, in her mind, she sees this family that she's going to have, and she's starting right now to make that happen.
She was only 24, but she had the education, the career, and a plan for the future. Now, all she needed was someone to share the life she was building.
And when she met 20-year-old Jakeem Wilson, She believed she'd found the man of her dreams.
It's like love at first sight.
He was handsome, good looking. She just fell in love with him.
My baby going straight to the top.
But Nanika went into the relationship with her eyes open.
Jakeem didn't have an easy childhood. There had been a lot of abuse, and he admitted to her that he'd sometimes even used drugs just to cope with his past.
Even with the little roughness, she still saw the good in him.
That's a hit.
She also saw promise.
Jakeem had hopes to become a rapper. He was really passionate about that.
He was always hustling, always trying to get his music out to as many people as possible, and just trying to be heard.
Before long, the young couple was expecting a child.
What else could enhance the power of love than bringing a new life into the world?
It was wonderful. I remember getting the call that she had had the baby, my nephew. I was so excited.
She loved being a mom. She doted on her son. She just doted on him.
And Nanika wouldn't be raising the child alone.
She always wanted this family. And so to put a bow on it, what else to do but get married?
Not long after the wedding, Nanika and Jakeem decided it was time for the young family to have a home of their own.
With the money that Nika had saved up, they buy a home in Wendell, North Carolina.
Next thing you know, here comes child number 2.
It was a baby girl, and she was just so excited.
Nanika continued her career as a home healthcare worker, while Jakeem stayed home with the kids.
She was happy to work hard and provide for the family, where he was in a position to be able to take care of the children and still strive after his dreams of being a rapper.
Hey, y'all. What y'all in here doing?
Nika is like, this is exactly how I imagined it. She's in love, she's happy. In her mind, everything is going according to script.
What's your job?
But now, that script has been violently ripped apart.
Jakeem had just called 911 to report that he'd come home to find Nanika collapsed on the floor in a pool of blood.
Can you tell if she's breathing?
I don't know. It's so much blood.
I can only imagine him being in complete shock. He's just probably so frantic, not even thinking straight.
While first responders race to the scene, Jakeem runs upstairs to check on the couple's 2 children.
Thankfully, they're unharmed.
He hustles the kids outside so they won't see their mother. And then, the shock of what's just happened takes its toll.
By the time help shows up, they find Jakeem out in the yard, passed out. He is so overcome by the situation.
While paramedics attend to Jakeem, the police enter the house.
Sheriff's Department!
They discover that the back door has been kicked in.
Miss Wilson was laying in the kitchen, face down.
And it's readily apparent that she's dead.
You got a pulse?
She's been stabbed. There's blood all over the place.
But was Nanika the killer's target?
Next to Nika's body, there was a message written.
It was written in her blood.
And that message said, your wife is dead and you were next.
Jakeem and Nanika Wilson had built a life for themselves and their 2 young children in Wendell, North Carolina, a small town just outside Raleigh.
Nika spent her savings to purchase a home for her family.
Hey, y'all.
She was the breadwinner of the family, and she had no problem with doing that.
She worked really hard in the healthcare field. She was making decent money.
What y'all doing?
Everything is falling in place for Nika.
Nika! Oh, my gosh.
But after Jakeem calls 911 and reports a shocking discovery, it looks as if all Nanika's plans and dreams have come to a brutal, bloody end.
Not only is his wife sprawled on the kitchen floor, but there's a message written next to her body.
It was written in her blood, your wife is dead, you're next.
Does that mean Jakeem was the killer's true target? When homicide detectives arrive on the scene, they determine that the killer had apparently caught Nanika by surprise.
The back door had been kicked in, which looked as though someone had broken into the home.
She's wrapped in a towel, so by all appearances, she either was getting ready to get into the shower or she had just gotten out of the shower when this happened.
But there's no uncertainty about how she died.
When we turned Miss Wilson over, we saw what appeared to be stab marks.
The 3 most deadly injuries that were sustained was 1 stab to the jugular, 1 stab to the lungs, and 1 stab directly in the heart.
She also had wounds on her left hand, which looked as though they were defensive wounds.
There's also a bloody footprint on her chest and another up under the back door.
And there's no sign of the murder weapon, but there are clues.
There were 2 knives missing from the kitchen block.
They saw some blood by the kitchen counter, which leads them to believe that the attacker used 1 knife and went back to get a 2nd knife.
While the medical examiner's team works to remove Nanika's body, the detectives turn their attention to the rest of the house.
There was a trail of blood leading from the kitchen down to the master bedroom.
And based on what they find in the bedroom, that's where detectives believe the attack began.
There's blood everywhere. Blood on the comforter, blood on the floor.
There's a lot more blood in a human body than people think.
But the blood isn't the only thing notable about the bedroom.
It was a mess. Clothes were everywhere, drawers were pulled out.
These attackers, maybe they were looking for something that wasn't just about killing Nika.
In the master bath, detectives find additional evidence that Nanika was either getting into or out of the shower when the killer struck.
The shower was still running.
There's also evidence that the killer had tried to clean up the crime scene, but the effort hadn't been very thorough.
The master bedroom where drawers been pulled out, Clorox been poured on clothes.
There were several things that the killer missed.
Luckily, Nanika and Jakeem's children had escaped the attack unharmed.
When Jakeem called 911, they were both still asleep in their beds.
Somehow, out of all of that, the 2 kids never heard any of this.
Turning the house over to the crime scene investigators, the detectives head outside to speak with Jakeem.
Mr. Wilson was in the EMS. I asked him would he be willing to speak to me. He said he would.
He had to have family members come over and collect the children because he was just so beside himself.
Just start from the beginning.
I asked him about the events that led up to the discovery of his wife.
Well, I got home around 6 this morning.
You work nights?
No, I was out with the guys last night.
Jakeem explained that the night before he had gone to downtown Raleigh.
They hung out, and instead of waking up his family, he just decided to stay overnight at his friend's home.
He says he came home and found the door kicked in.
The nigga! Oh my gosh! I ran inside, and that's when I found her.
Somebody had stabbed her.
Next to Nika's body was a message written in her blood.
Your wife is dead, and you're next.
Do you know why the killer would have written that?
Yeah.
He seemed very afraid.
It's me they wanted.
He kept saying they didn't have to do this. They carried it too far.
And he says the murder is all his fault.
Jakeem tells the police he is affiliated with the gang.
And he thought it was retaliation from another gang.
You sure about this?
Yeah, she gotta go.
In 2007, over 25,000 gangs were recorded in the United States, with larger cities and suburbs housing roughly 2/3 of the nearly 800,000 gang members nationwide. From 2007 to 2012, the total number of gang-related homicides averaged almost 2,000 murders annually, and nearly 15% of all U.S. homicides were gang-related. Jakeem Wilson has told detectives investigating the murder of his wife, Nanika, that he thinks he knows who killed her.
And when I saw what they wrote, I knew it.
Next to the body, the killer had used Nanika's blood to write, "You're next."
And he says there's a simple reason that the killer was coming for him.
He told me he was part of a gang.
His gang is known to have clashes with other gangs.
Okay, how does that end up with Nanika dead on the floor?
Well, I told you I was out with my guys last night, and
He tells the police that he is an aspiring rapper and that he went downtown to try to get some of his tracks played in a club.
He said the DJ played his track and people were into it.
But the good vibes ended when Jakeem and his crew left the club.
As he's leaving the club with his boys, he sees rival gang members. And so they exchange words.
The confrontation quickly escalated.
everyone started fighting. It got pretty crazy.
That turned into complete chaos.
Until Jakeem put a stop to it.
He said that he pulled out a handgun.
Jakeem fires some shots in the air, which allows him and his guys to make that exit.
Where's the gun now?
I got rid of it.
He said that he tossed the gun in a river as they made their way out.
But Jakeem says he didn't go home.
One of the friends that he was with lived in Selma, so he decided that it was a good idea to just go there.
They decided to go so things can cool off.
He says that on the way, they stopped by a liquor store.
Everyone was so keyed up after what happened last night.
He and his friends indulged in some adult beverages, and after drinking too much, he decided that it would be wise for him to stay at his friends.
Jakeem sleeps off that liquor, wakes up the next morning, heads back from Selma.
He drove up around 6 o'clock a.m. Noticed the back door was open. So he went into the back and noticed some blood on the floor and his wife laying on the floor.
And according to Jakeem, when he saw the message written on the floor, he knew what had happened.
They came for me, I know it.
He is absolutely convinced that this has something to do with that incident in downtown Raleigh near the clubs.
Still, the detectives do ask Jakeem about the couple's marriage.
Anytime someone is murdered, detectives have to rule out the spouse or significant other.
Jakeem said that the relationship was good.
Okay, how about finances? Any trouble there?
No, man, we're cool.
He says he just got a job at a print shop. He was trying to do his part to bring some resources to the house.
He also said that he enjoyed being a dad and stepping up and helping to take care of the children, and that overall they were really happy.
But Jakeem admits they did have one issue.
He does admit that his gang affiliation and lack of income did cause some strain on the relationship.
Here she is working hard, being that provider, letting him do his thing. But in the course of doing that, he's making these decisions that are bringing drama to the household.
And now she's dead?
I know. I should have been there to protect her.
He is just distraught. He has no idea what he's going to do without her.
What am I going to do, man?
Well, for starters, if the other gang killed her, then let us handle it.
After the interview, the detectives follow up on the possibility that Nanika's murder was gang-related.
While gangs aren't really an issue in a small town where the Wilsons live, they're definitely a factor in nearby Raleigh.
We had the Bloods, we had the Crips, we had the Folk Nation, Gangster Disciples, we have all of those.
The detectives start by contacting the Raleigh police.
The detectives inquire about the gunshots that Jakeem told them he shot outside of the club in downtown Raleigh.
I'm calling a report.
If that's the case, there should be a report of shots being fired.
Yeah, it would have been last night. He said it was outside the club. Really?
You don't find anything.
There were no reports of any gang activity, let alone gunshots.
Did Jakeem make the whole thing up?
All right, thanks.
Gang member and aspiring rapper Jakeem Wilson has told the detectives investigating his wife's murder that her death was payback aimed at him.
He thought that one of the rival gang members attacked his wife.
He said it was retaliation for a fight outside of a downtown rally club earlier that same evening.
They came for me, I know it.
But after following up with the Raleigh police, the detectives have reason to doubt his story.
Jakeem claimed he had broken up the fight by firing several gunshots into the air.
He said it was outside the club.
And when they contacted the local police,
Really?
there was no report at all about any gunshots.
That doesn't mean that Jakeem is lying. The system perhaps didn't pick up the gunshots.
All right, thanks.
But if Jakeem is lying, it's not hard for detectives to guess why.
Now, was he trying to push the blame on the gang because he was responsible for Nanika's death?
There may be a way for the detectives to learn the truth.
The detectives were able to reach out to a criminal informant that they had in the rival gang.
They asked about whether there was an altercation that particular evening. The informant says, nah.
Of course, he could be lying.
Yeah.
However, he also told the police that they probably should talk to an individual that was friends with Jakeem.
His name is Isaiah Barnes.
Everyone on the streets call him Toto.
According to the informant, Toto is part of Jakeem's crew and was probably with him at the club.
When they bring Mr. Barnes in, he seemed very reluctant to talk to them.
I ain't got nothing to say to y'all, man.
We heard there was a beef at the club last night.
And if Jakeem Wilson was involved.
But Toto says he hadn't heard anything about it.
He tells them there have been no recent incidents between those two gangs.
Okay, well, suppose you heard about Jakeem's wife?
Someone broke into their house and killed her. What? Really?
He said that he didn't know anything about what happened to her.
But then he says something that takes the detectives by surprise.
He said that he wouldn't be shocked if Jakeem actually had a hand in Nika's death.
He says there has been some drama between Jakeem and Nika.
What sort of drama?
Just the usual stuff, you know? Like,
Nika's always nagging. She's always giving him a lot of grief about things.
Jakeem was very frustrated with his wife, and he was very displeased with things.
And according to Toto, Jakeem did more than just complain about it.
He actually sometimes talked about getting her out of the way.
Like kill her?
Yeah.
And Toto says that's not just speculation.
Jakeem, he's a high-ranking gang member. He has certain privileges, and he can order certain things.
And so Jakeem ends up coming to Toto and says, I want you to take care of this for me.
You sure about this?
Yeah, she gotta go.
He had ordered him to kill Nika.
So what did you do?
I just stalled him.
You don't want to disobey your superior. And so Toto tells Jakeem, I'll take care of that for you. But Toto ain't about that kind of action.
He would just push it off and say things like, oh, I'll make a plan and I'll get to it, but that he never had intentions of doing it.
Now, Toto figures, okay, since I wouldn't do the deed, Jakeem must have took care of this himself.
Toto's theory sounds plausible to detectives, if it's true.
Jakeem had painted a picture that the relationship between him and Nika was good. There were no problems. Toto enters the picture and gives police a mind that things weren't always great.
However, Toto could have had his own reasons for blaming Jakeem.
All right, well, thanks for coming in.
The detectives turn to Nanika's family, hoping for a clearer picture of her marriage.
So Nanika's family tells the police that the couple's relationship seemed fine at first.
When the family first met Jakeem, they thought he was a nice guy.
You know, in the beginning, they seemed to have an okay relationship as far as we could tell on the outside. He seemed to be friendly for the most part.
But the family says that there were always challenges.
He didn't have a job per se. He may have had some part-time jobs, but it wasn't like he had a steady job the entire time that they were together.
We learned about a year prior to her death that he had been in a gang selling drugs.
One day, she showed me some things that he had in the house on weapons, and I said, why does he need this here?
The family says Nanika was growing frustrated with the situation.
He was in and out of jail for gang-related offenses. He wasn't holding a job, staying home all day, smoking weed.
But according to the family, Jakeem's loafing and dealing weren't the worst of it.
Nika's family knew that things were getting really bad.
She didn't seem to care to be at home a lot.
In accordance to her family, it was easy to see why.
I did see some markings around her neck.
Things had become physical.
Nika Wilson's family has revealed to the detectives investigating her murder that the 24-year-old nurse was trapped in an abusive marriage with her husband, Jakeem.
There were times when things would get so rough in their household that Nika would take the kids over to her parents' house, and she would stay there.
The family witnessed the bruises on her.
She came to stay with me for a while, and she showed me where he had choked her.
The family says they'd encouraged her to leave Jakeem.
I asked her, why would you live with someone who choked you and left marks on your neck? And she just changed the subject.
Nika asked them not to get involved in it.
She was in love, and she wanted her family to work, and she believed that things would get better.
In her mind, this is just a little bump in the road. It's just something that we need to work through.
And she worried what a split would mean for their children.
She did not want them to be fatherless, so she stayed there with her husband, her abuser.
The children were young.
Nanika also feared losing the house they'd recently bought.
She said, what about my house? I said, your house? You prefer a house to him putting his hands on you?
Nika's family begged her, please, don't go back into that situation. But see, Nika had built this life. She was invested financially, emotionally. And so in Nika's mind, she was too entangled.
She was headstrong on what she wanted, so I told her what could possibly happen. I said, it's not going to get any better.
Her family was thinking along the lines of, all of this could turn deadly.
But their hands were tied.
The family knew what was going on, but they respected her wishes not to interfere with their marriage.
And now that Nanika is dead, the family is certain Jakeem is responsible.
I knew he did it. I said he killed her. He was a member of a gang. I just knew he did it. It's my gut feeling.
But it will take more than a mother's instinct to make an arrest.
While the family's claims that Jakeem was abusive definitely made him a suspect, he did have an alibi for the evening of the murder.
After hanging out with his friends in downtown Raleigh, he decided to just stay at their house.
It was while he was away that the rival gang supposedly broke in and killed him.
Suspecting that Jakeem has been lying, the detectives dig into his alibi.
First person they tracked down was a young man named Roderick Howard. 17 years old, young, but got a little swag to him. Like, I'm this tough guy, but he understands the situation and he agrees to chat.
Roderick tells the detectives that he does know Jakeem and he did hang out with him the night before Nika's murder.
But Roderick says he wasn't with Jakeem all night.
Roderick said that Jakeem stayed with another friend that lived in Selma. That friend's name was Jamie.
Roderick says, get with Jamie, and he can tell you what you need to know.
The detectives are not sure if Roderick is telling them the truth, but they do decide to go out to Selma to meet the friend Jamie. Jamie opens the door as though he knew they were coming, like he was already expecting them.
He projects this tough, cool image, but it's very clear to the investigators that this guy's scared.
So, the investigators try to put him at ease.
We're not trying to wrap you up or anything. We just want to ask some questions.
Okay, I'll talk, but y'all gotta protect me.
Protect you?
From Jakeem.
Jamie reveals that he is terrified of Jakeem.
After detectives assure him that they can protect him, he starts talking.
He used to talk about his wife, how they weren't getting along.
Jakeem was not happy in the marriage. He wanted to leave Nika and the kids, but he didn't want to pay child support.
It sounds a lot like what Toto Barnes had already told detectives.
And the similarities don't stop there.
Jakeem started talking about how he needed to get rid of Nika.
When you say get rid of her, you mean kill her?
Jamie said at first he thought Jakeem was just kidding around.
You know how guys can be? Or I could just kill her.
But he was serious.
Yeah.
Then, Jamie walks detectives through the night of Nanika's murder.
His account of the evening is way different from Jakeem's.
Jamie told the detectives that they never went to downtown Raleigh. There was never a shooting. There was never a situation with the rival gang.
Instead, he says he was hanging out with Roderick that evening when they got a call from Jakeem.
Hey, what's up?
So nice tonight.
What are you talking about?
According to Jamie, Jakeem wasn't calling from a club in Raleigh. He was calling from home.
He was in the couple's bed, and she was about to take a shower.
That dude is dangerous.
He said that he was tired of her.
He had hidden a knife underneath the covers.
I'm gonna kill her.
Young woman. She loved her family. She loved her children. And it's sad to know that such a shining, bright light was dimmed and cut off so short and so early. Who knows what she could. If she would have gone further in the healthcare field, if she would have done great things in the community. And it's just so sad that we will never know. We'll never know how far she could have gone in life.
Jamie Holder has just told detectives investigating the death of Nanika Wilson that he got an unexpected call from Nanika's husband, Jakeem, shortly before her murder.
Jamie's a member of Jakeem's gang. He says Jakeem called him February 12th.
He said that right before Nika got into the shower, he had decided that he was going to kill her.
I got a knife from the kitchen, and I got it tucked away under the sheets right now, waiting to go to my bathroom.
In the midst of this play-by-play that Jakeem is giving, all of a sudden, Jakeem is like, hey, yo, I gotta go.
But then a few minutes later, Jakeem made another call.
Jakeem called and said exactly what happened.
It's done.
Jakeem informs his friend that he has stabbed her.
You could hear a person on the phone struggling with trying to breathe.
Then, with Nanika dying in the background, Jakeem described what he'd done.
Jakeem details step by step of how this murder took place.
Jakeem said that when Nanika got out of the shower, he was waiting.
Hey, baby, come here.
He asked her for a kiss, and Nika did not want to be bothered with him.
And at that point, he stabs Nika.
And he said after he had stabbed her, he just continued to stab her multiple times nonstop.
Jakeem was so ruthless that he actually broke the knife while he was stabbing her.
But the broken knife didn't stop Jakeem.
He drags her into the kitchen to get another knife so he could finish the job.
And then Jakeem said something even scarier.
He said, I'm on the way to come get you.
Jakeem called me and was like, I'm coming to get you.
For a moment, Jamie thought he was next.
But to his relief, that's not what Jakeem meant.
He tells Jamie, listen, I need your help to clean up this mess.
He got into his car and he went and picked up Roderick and Jamie and brought them back to the house to help him clean up the scene.
I had to help him. I could have been next.
But he says that once they got back to the house, they abandoned the cleanup effort.
We gotta clean this up.
They kicked in the back door.
He instructs them to stage the scene to make it look like a robbery.
That much blood, it's just not coming up. So they stick to the next step.
Then they go into the bedroom, they start pulling out drawers.
And to top it off, Jakeem had Jamie add one final touch.
Jakeem forces Jamie to write this message in Nika's blood.
He stood over him and told him what to write.
Writing blood, killed your wife, you're next.
Yo, what?
Let's do it!
He did it because he was afraid.
And according to Jamie, Jakeem came up with his cover story.
He tells Jamie, you're my alibi. You're going to say that I was with you in Selma.
But now Jakeem's entire plan has come undone.
Jamie informed the officers that he couldn't hold it any longer.
Not just having a conscience, but having a heart. He couldn't go along with Jakeem's plan.
Go ahead and chance behind your back for me.
However, just because Jamie's been honest, he's not in the clear.
Despite Jamie being cooperative, the officers informed him that they still had to charge him.
He gets charged as an accessory, and so does Roderick.
Although the one the detectives really want is Jakeem.
Because of the information that Jamie gave detectives, they're able to secure an arrest warrant for Jakeem.
After the arrest, the detectives lay their cards on the table.
We know everything that happened the night he killed Nanika.
What are you talking about?
Your boy Jamie gave you up.
But he disputes everything that Jamie is saying. And he tells police, no, here's what happened.
No, you got it all wrong. She came at me.
He basically claims that he received a phone call earlier that night from another female, and his wife got mad at him.
Jakeem told the officers that Nika actually was the one that attacked him.
She had the knife?
Yeah.
He's saying that it was self-defense. It got out of hand, and he wound up killing her.
Jakeem says he only covered it up out of fear he'd be charged with murder.
And he's not exactly wrong.
All right, let's go.
The detectives are like, we don't believe that.
They ultimately charged Jakeem with the murder of Nika.
I remember the next day, I woke up with a phone call from Jakeem from jail, trying to apologize and speak to my mom. I thought it was very bizarre.
When Jakeem goes on trial in June of 2008, the odds appear stacked against him.
Jamie, as well as Roderick, both testified against Jakeem.
For their cooperation, both Jamie and Roderick were given reduced sentences. Roderick received probation, and Jamie served 3 months in prison.
But when it's the defense's turn, Jakeem's lawyers try a new strategy.
Jakeem's defense team abandoned the self-defense argument, and instead, they made the argument that because of Jakeem's childhood trauma history and abuse and drug abuse over the years, that he just went into a fit of rage, and that's why this horrible act happened.
But the jury doesn't buy Jakeem's excuses.
Jakeem was ultimately found guilty of first-degree murder.
He is sentenced to life without parole.
Nanika's family is satisfied by the sentence.
I wanted to pursue the death penalty, but after realizing that he would have to spend a longer time in agony with life with no parole, I was happy with that.
I want him to suffer for the rest of his life and just be in jail, be locked up forever until you die.
I think that this is the best that could be done so that he could be held accountable for his actions. But you have to keep in mind, there were 2 little lives that were affected as well.
My husband adopted them, and she is like a daughter to me, but she misses her mom. And my grandson, I know he misses her because she doted over that boy. They miss their mom.
For children, they need their mother, and that is something that is very, very hard to come to terms with.
But what if the pattern you follow becomes chaos? You think you can trust your intuition, but it leads you farther and farther astray. When you finally begin to see the light, will you get out while you still can? Or continue the cycle forever? December 31st, 2010. Residents all across the bustling city of Atlanta, Georgia, are ringing in the new year.
It's New Year's Eve in Atlanta. You can just feel the energy in the city. People are getting ready to celebrate. It's a very exciting time to be in Atlanta.
A few miles south of downtown, a group of friends are saying goodbye to 2010 with dancing, drinks, and laughter. But at 12:30 a.m., the jovial scene is shattered when a loud bang sounds from outside.
Everyone rushes outside to see what had happened, and they see their friend Alicia Wells on the ground.
It's not looking good for this woman. There's blood everywhere.
It appears Alicia has been shot in the chest. As her friends rush to her aid, they catch a glimpse of the shooter leaving the scene.
Friend of the victim seen an African-American woman who had a long black ponytail running away.
The partygoers make a flurry of phone calls to the local police department.
This was a serious gunshot wound. They didn't know if she was going to make it.
When police set their sights on the shooter, they'll discover a troubled young woman with a propensity for the wrong relationships. Relationships that seemed to destroy everything in their paths.
You're gonna do anything for someone that you love or that you think love you.
Atlanta native Tiffany Ramey was always admired for her stunning good looks.
She was always into fashion, into makeup, dress-up type things.
The young beauty also had the brains to boot.
Tiffany was always a very smart, bright student. We were always very proud of her.
Tiffany had a mind, a good mind, to be able to do pretty much whatever she wanted, and her aspirations were to become a lawyer.
There was just one problem: money.
I didn't make a lot of money, so, we did the best we could with what we had.
Tiffany grew up in a lower income neighborhood. She and her family didn't have much. They certainly didn't have the funds to send her to law school.
To save up for college, Tiffany took advantage of her good looks and got a job as a dancer at a local strip club.
I made so much money, it just kind of sucked me in. It was exciting. I liked it.
In order to be in that lifestyle of being a stripper, you have to have some strongness about you.
Luckily, Tiffany's boyfriend, Brian, didn't mind her profession.
Brian was well liked by everyone. Wherever he went, he was getting big ups from people. She was attracted to a guy who is well liked and respected.
Brian had always made Tiffany feel wanted and cared for. But one night, everything changed.
He was kind of disheveled. He had like some dirt on his pants. And he was like, I got robbed today. And he had this whole elaborate story about some guy pulled a gun on him and he took all of his money.
Tiffany knew they wouldn't be able to make their apartment's rent without that money. But Brian already had a plan.
He was like, well, I have a friend and, you know, he's seen you before and he really likes you. He said he'll put some money in our pocket, you know, if you just spend a little time with him.
Initially, Tiffany was horrified by the suggestion.
I was disgusted by that question. Like, no, who does that? That's not what I do. I would never do that.
She probably felt like, I never thought that I would sell my body for money.
All strippers are not into that world.
Eventually, though, Brian wore her down.
Even though she was uncomfortable with the situation, she reluctantly agreed to do it. Even though it was very demeaning and degrading for her.
After that night, Tiffany thought the whole thing was over. But she soon found out his one-time request was the tip of the iceberg.
Brian continued to coax Tiffany into sleeping with other men for money to help pay their bills.
He had been manipulating her for a good bit, using a whole lot of psychological tactics to make her trust him, to care about him. Essentially, he was grooming her.
It wasn't like he worked on my brain. He worked from inside of my brain.
Fortunately, after 4.5 years under Brian's control, Tiffany finally was able to get away from him, away from turning tricks.
It took me a long time to realize that Brian was the manipulator.
She left in the dead of night while Brian was sleeping and never looked back.
By the spring of 2009, Tiffany had all but written men off.
I wasn't a regular girl anymore.
She could not go back to a traditional relationship. Regular guys would not understand what she had been through.
When she met a charming stranger, 28-year-old Philip Anderson, everything changed.
Philip was so handsome. He definitely commanded the attention of the room. And I couldn't take my eyes off of him.
When Philip and Tiffany started a conversation, the connection was undeniable.
It was different than any other guy she had been with. They had a very deep emotional connection and even a spiritual one, too.
Tiffany bared her soul to Philip about her ex, about what he manipulated her into doing.
He seemed to listen with concern and care, as though what she was saying to him, it mattered.
He was definitely a gentleman. He always asked me how I felt, how you feel, or what would you like to do?
The two talked for hours, and Tiffany thought she had finally found a good man who wouldn't judge her for what she'd been through.
We decided that we were going to be an item.
He is basically promising her, I'm going to take care of you. You don't have to worry.
From that moment on, Tiffany and Philip were inseparable.
He made sure that he was better than Brian in every single way. Gave me everything that I wanted that I didn't have while I was with Brian.
She eventually saw Brian as a loser and saw Philip as someone who could be a partner, someone who could also provide for her.
Not only was the emotional connection there, but the physical connection was more than Tiffany had ever thought possible.
When you make love to a woman's mind, then the body follows. And that's what he did.
This was brand new to me. How he made my body feel and how he talked to me. Those were things that really resonated with me.
But soon, Tiffany would find out Philip had more in common with her ex than she thought.
So once you're in that lifestyle, you just move from one bad guy to the other. And it's a sad cycle.
January 1st, 2011, 12:45 a.m. Police have just arrived at a home on the south side of Atlanta, where a 22-year-old woman has been shot.
Alicia Wells had been shot in the chest outside of a New Year's Eve party.
Right now, all that law enforcement has is a vague description of a female who was running away from the crime scene.
Officers move partygoers away from the victim to assess her injuries. To their surprise, Alicia is able to name her shooter.
She said it was a young woman named Tiffany Ramey, but she couldn't say much more. She was in a lot of pain and fading fast.
Police put out an APB for Tiffany Ramey, and the entire city is on lookout.
There was a poster like armed and dangerous. There was a reward out for my arrest. It was absolutely crazy.
Soon, detectives will come face to face with their shooter, only to find out this hardened criminal was really just a woman so in love with her man that she was willing to do whatever it took to keep him.
She realizes, I need to do this in order to prove to him that I'm loyal, that I'm ride or die.
After ending a toxic relationship with her ex, Brian Jones, Tiffany Ramey thought she had found the man of her dreams in 28-year-old Philip Anderson.
After leaving Brian, Tiffany really wanted to gain control over her life. She wanted to be her own woman.
Philip seemed different. He seemed like someone she could trust.
We did everything together, and I felt like he was my best friend.
But soon, Philip would get Tiffany in more trouble than she ever imagined, and send her spiraling into a pattern of abuse and control she couldn't escape.
It's almost like a case of Stockholm Syndrome. She feels like she has to be loyal.
I believed in being a real ride or die.
January 1st, 2011. Just hours after Alicia Wells was shot outside a New Year's house party, Atlanta police are on the hunt for their suspect.
Alicia was able to name Tiffany Ramey as the shooter right away. Police immediately put out an APB for Tiffany.
Fortunately, Alicia is expected to make a full recovery. As police scour the area for Tiffany, detectives head to the hospital to interview their victim about what happened.
Alicia told detectives that she and Tiffany had actually been friends.
She says the whole incident is a blur. She remembers fighting with Tiffany and then a gunshot. And the next thing she remembers is waking up in the hospital.
Detectives ask Alicia what sparked the fight, but Alicia says it all happened so fast, she's having trouble remembering.
Alicia says they'd been growing apart lately, getting in some little cat fights here and there, but nothing like this.
She was shocked that her friend would do something like this to her. It was out of character.
At this point, the motivation behind this brutal attack was still a mystery.
Detectives thank Alicia for her time and head back to the drawing board.
Cops needed to find Tiffany ASAP before she hurt someone else.
Days pass without any sign of Tiffany. But as detectives try to plan their next move, they get an unexpected break.
Law enforcement gets a tip as to where Tiffany is hiding.
Someone dimed her out. They found her.
police race to an apartment complex just outside of the city, where they locate their shooter. Tiffany Ramey is taken into custody without incident. But it's clear the 26-year-old is overcome with emotion.
She's unsure of what her future will be.
I couldn't believe it. I was devastated. Like, I couldn't even understand.
Back in Atlanta, detectives sit down with their suspect. They begin by telling Tiffany that Alicia has survived the attack and has named her as the shooter.
To their surprise, Tiffany is relieved to hear that Alicia's alive.
This is great because she's not dead. But this is bad because now she's going to be able to tell me.
Knowing she's cornered, Tiffany confesses to the shooting.
Tiffany knows at this point she can't hide any longer. Guilt has been eating her alive.
Tiffany admits that as soon as she and Alicia spotted each other outside of the party, things escalated quickly.
I told her, Alicia. I remember her hitting me in my eye.
Tiffany tells detectives that in that moment, she did the unthinkable.
Tiffany pulled out a gun.
And I pulled the trigger. And when I backed up, she was down. It was blood everywhere.
Tiffany thinks that she kills this girl after shooting her. These intense feelings of fear and sadness were definitely overwhelming for Tiffany.
She was my friend. I couldn't understand how I could have killed my friend.
She ran away from the scene and ultimately went on the run.
It's quite a story. But there's one thing not clear. Why the beef with Alicia escalated in the first place. When detectives ask Tiffany to clarify, they're taken aback by her reaction.
When detectives ask her to explain her motivations behind the attack, she clams up and decides to ask for a lawyer.
I said I don't have to talk to nobody.
Detectives are puzzled at Tiffany's sudden change in demeanor.
They know she's hiding something, or perhaps protecting someone.
Though detectives believe there's more to Tiffany's story than she's revealing, they arrest her and charge her with attempted murder.
I was devastated. This is supposed to go differently.
But soon, someone will come forward that will clear up the holes in Tiffany's story.
She followed his lead. She learned his rules. She's not going to leave. Where's she going?
I let myself get beside myself. I felt like it was Philip's spirit inside of me.
January 2011. Atlanta police have 26-year-old Tiffany Ramey in custody for the shooting of her friend, 22-year-old Alicia Wells. But there's one element of the investigation still missing: the motive.
Neither Alicia or Tiffany were able to give them a clear motive for the crime.
Alicia said this seemed out of character for her friend, and she didn't remember much from the night of the shooting.
Tiffany confessed to the crime, but when it came to talk about motive, she clammed up and asked for a lawyer.
Detectives know Tiffany is holding something back, but it's clear they aren't going to learn the truth from her.
At this time, Tiffany would not budge.
Days pass, and just when detectives think the case has hit a dead end, they catch a lucky break.
An old friend of Tiffany's, Raven Palmer, comes forward.
Raven tells detectives she knows the shooting looks bad and that she doesn't condone what Tiffany did, but she wants to give officers the full story in an attempt to help her friend.
Raven says Tiffany doesn't want to be a snitch, but she did what she did at the direction of her man, Philip Anderson.
Raven tells detectives that at first, Philip was like a dream come true for Tiffany.
Tiffany believed that she and Philip were partners. They were a team. She thought he loved her.
He acknowledged her past and agreed to be there for her no matter what. He promised he'd never hurt her.
But Raven says eventually, another side of Philip began to emerge, and Tiffany started to lose herself for her man again.
Raven tells detectives about Tiffany's tumultuous relationship with her ex, Brian Jones.
Tiffany was still looking for her knight in shining armor. Unfortunately, she didn't see that Philip was just the same as Brian.
Raven claims it all started when Philip asked for Tiffany's help in acquiring some drugs, and Tiffany agreed.
I felt like, well, this is my chance to show him what I really got. This was my opportunity to prove myself to him.
But Raven claims the drug deal went horribly wrong.
It was all a setup for a robbery. The dealer had someone hiding in the bushes outside the house.
He pops out of the bushes with a baseball bat and hits me in my face. He hit me so hard, it felt like sand in my mouth. I remember thinking, I'm not even crying yet. What is this liquid? It was blood. It was everywhere.
Raven says the incident broke Tiffany's jaw, fractured her teeth, and split her lip.
My teeth were wired shut for 8 weeks.
Raven tells detectives that even though the incident was traumatic for Tiffany, she loved Philip's attentiveness after the fact.
He would hold my mouth all the way shut so that it would relieve the pressure of the wires long enough for me to go to sleep. I really felt like he loved me.
But according to Raven, when Tiffany's wires came off 8 weeks later, Philip flipped a switch.
When they took the wires off, he was like, okay, so you know it's time for you to get back to work, right?
He wanted her to get back to work at the strip club, but he also wanted her to assist in more drug deals, which must have been terrifying for Tiffany after what happened the first time.
I felt like I owed him because he took care of me.
He made Tiffany feel like he loved her. You're gonna do anything for someone that you love or that you think love you.
But despite Tiffany's devotion to Philip, Raven says her friend's hell was only just beginning.
He started putting hands on her.
I had the most severe ass whooping I ever had in my life. I was absolutely afraid of him.
January 2011. 26-year-old Tiffany Ramey sits in a jail cell, awaiting sentencing for shooting her friend, Alicia Wells, outside of a house party on New Year's Eve.
Police know she's guilty of the crime, but what they don't yet understand is the motive.
However, Tiffany's friend Raven Palmer has come forward with the promise of shedding new light on the investigation.
Raven claims Tiffany is a good person at heart, and all this happened as a result of Tiffany being involved with the wrong man.
That man was Philip Anderson.
According to Raven, Philip had gotten Tiffany wrapped up in his drug trade business, and things only got worse from there.
If he gave me a quota and I met it, then I came home and everything was fine. If not, I'll get my ass whooped.
Raven says when the beatings got worse, Tiffany tried to leave Philip for good.
I knew he would be looking for me because that is the kind of guy he was. So I tried to stay in places where I knew he didn't know a lot of people, which wasn't very many.
Raven tells detectives that before long, Philip tracked Tiffany down.
He was like, oh, so you're not ever coming back home. And I was like, what? Listen, no beef. I just need some time. And I remember thinking, I really don't want to go with him because he had beat me so severely previously that I just didn't want to go.
Against her better judgment, Tiffany eventually broke down and let Philip into the car.
He was asking me questions, and I remember I just let all my feelings come out. I told him, I don't want to be with you no more. I really can't stand you. And when the words came out of my mouth, he reached back. He put his gun to my thigh, and he pulled the trigger. And then he pointed the gun at my face, and he told me, find the bullet, or I'm going to pull the trigger again. And at this time, I'm freaked out. Okay, there's a hole in my leg, and I'm bleeding.
Raven says despite her friend's pain, Tiffany did as her man instructed.
I reached down into the bottom of the floorboard, and I gave it to him. He threw it out the window.
Fortunately, Philip allowed Tiffany to go to the hospital to get her leg treated, as long as she stayed quiet about what really happened.
I was in a lot of pain. I got shot with a 9mm and went all the way through. It shattered my femur bone.
Tiffany should have been way done, but she still won't give up on him.
Raven says although Tiffany was honest with her about what happened, she lied to police about the incident, just like Philip asked.
I told him I shot myself. And they told me, you're lying. When you decide to tell what really happened, you give us a call. And I remember kicking the card out the bed onto the floor and thinking, I would really like to tell, but what would be the repercussions of this? I felt like if I had told them that he would probably come back and kill me.
She knows that this is a very dangerous man. So she protected him, not just out of love and loyalty. She protected him because she was scared.
Raven explains that Tiffany went back to Philip after being released from the hospital and never reported the shooting to officials. But things only got crazier from there.
Things got worse, and they got worse. And she never saw that they were getting worse.
He had bigger plans for her. He had her exactly where he wanted her, right along for the ride.
The truth was, he was using her past against her.
Atlanta detectives are hearing a harrowing tale of abuse and manipulation from Raven Palmer, a friend of Tiffany Ramey.
Tiffany Ramey was in jail awaiting sentencing for the shooting of Alicia Wells, who survived, and ID'd Tiffany as the shooter.
Raven claims this whole altercation stemmed from Tiffany's abusive relationship with Philip Anderson.
If she stepped out of line, he would beat her and had even shot her in the leg on one occasion. She was loyal to a fault and never reported the shooting to authorities.
Raven tells detectives that eventually, Tiffany's world got even crazier.
Philip decided that the money they were bringing in wasn't enough.
He wanted Tiffany to help him recruit young women for a prostitution ring.
He knew Tiffany's past would be helpful to them in this new venture.
According to Raven, Philip assured Tiffany she would be his right hand in managing the girls and would never have to put her own body on the line like she did with her ex, Brian.
She wouldn't have to sleep with anyone, just the other girls would.
Well, I didn't know what to think at first. You know what I mean? I loved him, and that's all that mattered to me.
With Philip not necessarily wanting Tiffany to sell her body, it made her feel valued. That this man really loves me.
Raven says that ultimately, Tiffany gave in. She even took the lead in helping to recruit the other women.
She learned his tactics. She learned his rules. She got the women, girls are gonna come with her because she's a pretty girl, and they're more open to women.
We got other girls that came to live with us. For these girls, I was their mom. And I used to explain just like this, listen, I promise you can have nice hair, you can have nice nails too. But tonight you're gonna have to give all your money to him.
She dealt with the girls, encouraging them to have their own savings and checking accounts, because she realized if they didn't take care of that, they would end up with nothing, and she didn't want that for them.
However, If Tiffany got too overly friendly with the girls, Philip was quick to assert his dominance.
Philip is the one who's in power and making all of the decisions.
He needs to establish himself as being, the king of the castle. He needs to make sure that Tiffany never starts to consider herself separate and apart from him.
Raven tells detectives that just 3 months later, Philip got arrested for shooting a man at a store in a blind rage.
Luckily, the man survived Philip's wrath, and Phillips was charged with aggravated battery.
Philip gets convicted and is sentenced to 30 years.
With Philip behind bars, Raven believed Tiffany would finally get out of her man's grasp. But Philip's manipulation continued through constant phone calls.
He was like, I'm sorry for all the things I ever did wrong to you. And I want you to know, I really do love you.
She still had this attachment, this belief that she needed this man.
Raven says Philip made Tiffany agree to keep the prostitution ring running while he served out his sentence.
He encourages her to maintain this business in his absence. And he even uses the word legacy, as if this is your legacy.
He would tell her that she needed to remain in total control of the business at all times and do whatever it took to stay on top.
That's when Raven offers more to the shooting story than Tiffany or Alicia told detectives.
Alicia was one of Philip's girls, one that Tiffany was in charge of.
Alicia hadn't mentioned this in her interview with detectives. They think she didn't want to tell them she'd been working as a prostitute.
Raven says in the weeks leading up to the New Year's Eve shooting, Tiffany felt like Alicia had been hurting the reputation of the business.
Alicia was very bad on the dope. In my mind, I was gonna help her get off of the dope.
When she told Philip about Alicia's behavior, he was furious.
He was pissed. He said that this is my business. This is how we get money. I have a reputation to uphold, and I promised them top of the line girls, and this does not reflect that.
He told Tiffany that it was all her fault that Alicia had gotten out of line. He said she needed to do a better job keeping control. He said he was incredibly disappointed in her.
Even from behind prison walls, he still was in control of Tiffany's mind.
Raven says on New Year's Eve, when Tiffany spotted Alicia, Philip's words were echoing in her friend's head.
And I remember Philip saying, you can never lose control or allow somebody to get out of control. And in my mind, that's what was happening right now.
She did what she had seen Philip do in that situation. One of the girls got out of line, so she beat her back into submission.
She goes from a promiser and a protector to a punisher.
But Alicia fought back.
She feels like she's losing the battle against this girl. She knows Philip would never stand for this.
In my mind, I thought I could not let this situation end like this.
She could hear Philip's voice, guiding her, telling her to take back control.
She wanted to make him proud and prove that she could handle the situation.
She pulled a weapon on her and used it. She shot this girl.
Raven says Tiffany called her after the incident and told her everything that had happened.
Tiffany told Raven she needed to go into hiding and might never see her again.
When Raven found out that Tiffany had been arrested, she knew she needed to come forward to help her friend.
She knew Tiffany was not a bad person. She believed Tiffany had fallen for the wrong man and had been manipulated into someone she couldn't recognize.
But will Raven's statement be enough? Or will Tiffany face a lifetime behind bars? Soon, another character witness comes forward on Tiffany's behalf. And authorities can't believe who.
I couldn't believe that this was happening.
June 28th, 2011. Tiffany Ramey is in prison, awaiting sentencing on charges of attempted murder.
felt horrible. And I just kind of lost myself.
That's when Tiffany gets a letter from someone she never expected. It's from Alicia Wells, the woman she had shot.
It was like, look, I'm sorry this happened between us. I hope you don't get in trouble for this. I really don't want this to be how the end of your life is.
This was a huge shift for Tiffany. Once she was forgiven, once she was given a second chance, then that set the pace for her to move forward.
The forgiveness from her former friend was stunning, but it wasn't the only shock Tiffany had gotten during her time behind bars. Tiffany was pregnant.
She had a one-night stand when she was on the run.
Though the timing was far from ideal, Tiffany took her pregnancy as a blessing.
I prayed to God. You know, I've always wanted to be pregnant. I've always wanted to have a baby.
As for Philip's prostitution ring, without Tiffany there to guide the other women, his operation fell apart.
All the women took what money they had made there and left to do their own thing.
In December of 2011, Tiffany goes before the judge.
I explained to the judge, you know, I know what I did, but let me tell you why. And I know what my record looks like, but let me tell you this, I never had a reason to do anything right in my whole life. Please don't take me away from my baby.
Tiffany's lawyer offers the letter from Alicia to bolster their request for leniency.
That letter turned out to be one of the determining factors in my case. The judge told me, I don't know why I want to help you, but this is what we're going to do.
The judge gives Tiffany probation for time served and orders her to complete 5 years of community service.
I get to go home with my baby in the free world. I knew God had something for me to do in my life.
Tiffany and her family are overjoyed.
I did feel relieved. I think we all did. I think we all felt like we could breathe a little.
We were just happy, really happy to have her home.
To this day, Tiffany Ramey credits her son for saving her life.
I named him Messiah because he saved me. And I changed everything about my life.
Tiffany has completely cut ties with both Brian and Philip. She is now committed to building a future for herself and her son.
She has full custody of her son. In addition to that, most importantly, she has a meaningful relationship with her family, and that's a beautiful thing.
She's showing us that she wants to be in a better place, and our arms are open.
Something is clicked for her. She wants it. She wants her life back.
After being manipulated by not one, but two men, Tiffany has learned that being someone's ride or die is not love, but a betrayal of yourself.
I didn't take that advice, and look at all the things that's happened to me. I've been shot. I've had all my teeth knocked out with a baseball bat. I've been to prison and back. This is my healing, to be able to help another girl that might be headed down my same path and say, hey, don't go down there. Life can get better, how there is a chance for people like us.
Patterns can save us, or they can destroy us. When a pattern becomes dangerous, you run the risk of losing it all and being swallowed whole by that which you can't escape. Breaking the cycle isn't easy, but in the end, it's worth it. Abuse is never okay. If you or someone you love is in an abusive relationship, there is help available. Call the Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. November 17th, 2016. It's a breezy autumn day in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma is the second largest city in the state of Oklahoma. It has a population of a little over 1 million people. It's a great place to live.
One of the things that I'm proud of about Tulsa is we have Black Wall Street here. Because of the attention that Black Wall Street has gotten in the past few years, we have a lot of traffic coming through.
The body's trying very hard, is working overdrive. The lawyer reached out to the police and volunteered his client.
He can tell them exactly who committed the crime.
He was actually a primary target, the guy they really would like to have shot. The bad guys, they don't care. It's revenge, retaliation, revenge, retaliation.
October 19th, 2012, Syracuse, New York. It's just after 8 p.m. on the city's north side.
The Syracuse Police Department received 3 911 calls for a shooting.
Officers rush to the location where they find 2 victims.
They found one victim on the ground. And then they also found another person that had a minor, very minor injury from a gunshot wound that grazed his back, his upper back.
The man on the ground is struggling to breathe. Officers attempt first aid.
They didn't see obvious injury to him at that point. So what they did is they cut his shirt off, and then they spotted a small amount of blood. He was shot once in the left side near this armpit because of the trauma from the gunshot. Most likely his lungs were filling with blood. The body's trying very hard, is working overdrive to get air in. Just a minute or two after that, our ambulance crew arrived and was able to provide advanced medical care.
EMTs rushed the man to the hospital. The second victim identifies himself as 20-year-old Shavoki Bloodworth.
He was looked at by ambulance personnel on the scene and declined further treatment.
Shavoki tells police he doesn't know the other victim. At the hospital, the man fighting for his life is soon identified as 30-year-old Walter Bell, a resident of South Carolina. Walter Bell III was born on July 12, 1982, in Orangeburg, South Carolina. At a young age, Walter's parents separated, and he went to live with his mother in New York.
Walter was born in South Carolina, but spent most of his childhood and growing up in Long Island.
There, Walter was part of a large community of family and friends that included 2 brothers, 4 younger sisters, and his childhood best friend, Latia.
Everybody was just carefree, just running around having a good time, causing destruction with the parents, you know, running the parents crazy.
Walter took care of his siblings.
Walter was the protector. He felt like he had to protect his sisters. The sisters got boyfriends and he had to interrogate them.
He's just like so family oriented. He cares about people and he put others before himself.
In his teenage years, Walter's mom grew concerned that her son was headed down the wrong path.
Walter started getting into a little bit of the rougher lifestyle of Long Island, so his mom decided to send him back to South Carolina to live with his dad.
Orangeburg, South Carolina was a big change. But not too long after he moved, Walter welcomed a familiar face to town.
My family was gradually moving to South Carolina because there was land owned within the family. And so when we moved, I boo-hoo cried from New York to Virginia. And I was kind of relieved when I got closer to South Carolina because that phone rang and it was Walter calling me.
In South Carolina, Walter and Latia's lifelong friendship blossomed into a full-blown romance.
Walter was always there for her. She was always there for him. He was gonna marry Tia.
Walter's home life was rocky. During their senior year of high school, Walter and Latia came to depend on each other like they never had before.
He had nowhere to stay. I had nowhere to stay due to, family issues. And we walked and walked and walked throughout the nights. We went up into a football field and slept in the announcer's box for weeks.
So it was like him and Tia, was pretty much just living on the street.
The young lovers were on their own. Walter's sister-in-law tried to help.
Santana would sneak food and covers and blankets and pillows and things out of the window for us at night. And nobody knew we was outside that window but her.
In 2003, more trouble caught up with Walter.
Walter got into some things that he should not have. He was accused of breaking into homes and stealing things.
21-year-old Walter was arrested and charged with second-degree burglary. He pled guilty and was sentenced to 15 years in prison.
I cried and I cried and I cried. And we were allowed to spend some time together afterwards, back by the holding cells. And Walter looked at me and said, the only thing I want you to do is live your life to whatever makes you happy. Just make sure that when I come home, I have a place to come home to.
When he was in prison, it was never a time that he didn't write, he didn't call, he always kept in contact, always.
There was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of me trying to find myself, a lot of me trying to rebuild myself back up.
In October 2010, after almost 7 years behind bars, Walter was granted parole. By then, Latia was a single mother to 3 young kids. Walter and Latia picked up where they left off.
When he came home, he loved her kids. He took all of her kids in, they was his kids.
When he started bonding with the kids is when it was just okay, well, it is what it is. We can't change it.
The childhood sweethearts settled into life together, with Walter taking on the role of stepdad. By the summer of 2012, they had plans to marry. But first, they needed a fresh start.
He was unable to find work because of his record. He was just trying and just staying focused and not going back on the prior ways that he was doing, the things he was doing before he went to jail. He was trying to make a way and work, actually work.
And then Walter hears about an opportunity back in New York.
Walter's cousin offered to help him get a job at a recycling center in Syracuse.
I said, well, I don't know. I really don't want to go back to New York. And he looked me in my eyes and he said, Tia, I'll ride with you no matter what. Whatever decisions you make, I ride with you on it. I want you to ride with me on this. That Friday, we packed up 3 laundry bags of clothes and shoes, packed the kids up, and got on the Greyhound.
The couple stayed with friends and in hotels until they could find a place of their own. Around the same time, Latia delivered news that there was more change to come.
I said, Walter, and I showed him the pregnancy test. He was like, are you serious? He was so happy. Within 5 minutes, he had done called his mom. He had done called his oldest sister. He called his god sister. He was just so happy.
He was so excited that he was about to be a dad. Nobody couldn't take that moment from him. That moment meant the world.
Just 6 weeks after arriving in Syracuse, Walter Bell is fighting for his life at a hospital following a life-threatening gunshot wound. Another man, Shavoki Bloodworth, was grazed by a bullet in the same attack. He is still on the scene.
He voluntarily gave part of his story as to what happened, as to how he saw the incident unfold.
Which isn't much.
Mr. Bloodworth was saying he didn't know the man, Mr. Bell in this case, and that he was just an innocent bystander, didn't know anything, just heard some gunshots and felt something hit his back.
Investigators search for evidence. They recover 2 .25 caliber shell casings.
The other thing you want to immediately do is start to canvass the area, especially for cameras. And then you want to find anybody that's close by that may have observed what happened. One of the people that called 911, her and her daughter got a good look at 2 males that walked past their house.
They described them as wearing dark clothing.
They saw 2 black men in their 20s approach the victim. A few minutes later, shots rung out.
And then they saw them go back by their house, go back to a vehicle they described as a white SUV that then left the scene. They didn't see them with a gun. They didn't see them actually shoot anybody. They just saw them going to the crime scene and then leaving the crime scene.
Police put out an APB with the descriptions. Then, less than an hour after the initial 911 calls, detectives get an update on Walter's condition.
His bleeding was internal, so there wasn't much that they could do. Walter was pronounced dead at the Upstate University Hospital.
Now they have a homicide investigation on their hands.
Ziploc knows your secret recipes should be shared.
19th, 2012. Police in Syracuse, New York are investigating a shooting when they learn that one of the victims, 30-year-old Walter Bell, did not survive. Detectives go to the hospital where doctors have recovered the bullet from Walter's body.
It was a small .25 caliber, consistent with the 2 shell casings that were found up the street.
Hospital staff tell detectives that the victim's fiancée, Latia Walker, is on the phone. She has just been informed of the shooting.
The detective asked me what my name was, where did I live, how soon could I get to the hospital. And I said to him, I don't even know where, I don't know where anything is. I've only been in town for 6 weeks. I would have to figure out how I'm getting there, and I told him I had my kids.
Detectives agreed to meet Latia at the hotel where she and Walter have been staying since arriving in town.
They showed up, they knocked on the door, and one of them asked me to step outside with him. The other one stayed inside with the kids. And he told me that Walter didn't make it. At that point, I lost all hope for everything. Everything.
Latia explains that earlier in the evening, she and Walter had been at the hotel when he received a phone call.
It was his cousin calling and saying, he wanted to spend some time with him and things of that nature. So Walter decided to go with him. Walter left the motel probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock. Anytime Walter goes anywhere, when he gets to where he's going, he always called me to let me know he made it to where he was going okay. So I called Walter about 6:45, 7 o'clock. He's like, yeah, I'm all right. I just, I lost track of time. I forgot to call you, my bad. And he's like, but I'm gonna call you before I come home because I wanna know what you need from the store. So I said, okay. Around 7:55, he called me. Automatically, I'm thinking he's in the grocery store. Let me tell him what I want. So I'm like, yeah, I want some strawberries and I want some bananas and make sure you get some cereal for the kids for in the morning. And he's like, Tia, stop. I said, well, what? Tia, I've been shot. He sounded okay, and I thought he was playing with me.
For about a whole minute of that phone call, she believes he's joking.
He says, no, I've really been shot. And then he's paused. His whole demeanor, everything changed. He paused, and now I'm taking him seriously because now I could tell something is wrong. And so I started going into questions. Where are you at? Tell me where you are. What's going on? Where were you shot? I'm asking 1,000,001 questions, and the only thing he's saying is that he couldn't breathe. I can't breathe. Oh my God, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Then he stops for a minute, and then he says, I love you and the kids, and to take care of the kids. He stopped responding. We've always had the relationship of getting to one another when we needed it. And I couldn't get to him. I didn't know where he was.
Desperate and unsure what to do, Latia started calling local hospitals.
The only thing that could go through my head was, what am I gonna do now? Well, I'm here by myself. I got my kids. How am I gonna tell these kids?
Police ask Latia if she knows anyone who might have been after Walter.
They want to know exactly what could have caused this homicide, if he had any enemies or any known people in the area that would want to harm him. Latia makes them aware that they had literally just moved.
He had just really come here from South Carolina with his family, and then before that was from Long Island.
The only information Latia has is that Walter had been with his cousin in the hours before he died.
I thought he had gotten into it with somebody. That's the only, explanation that I could have come up with.
She gives the address where Walter's cousin lives, just a block away. Investigators hope that he can shed light on what went down in Walter's final hours.
At this point, detectives have more questions than answers.
It's really about talking to people.
Both of them was from New York, so they was like, okay, well, we just gonna go to New York together and see how, like this work out. So it's like this was an opportunity for them both to start a new life. I just had this feeling about him in New York. Tia called me on that night, and she was just crying, screaming, yelling, like, I'm like, Tia, what's wrong? Like, calm down, like, what's wrong? When she finally got it together, she said, Walter been shot. It was hard. It was very hard, especially she was in New York at the time, and I was in South Carolina. I just feel like it was the worst night of my life.
Sponsored by the all-new Lexus GX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Weekend off the grid.
Is this where we're sleeping?
Nah, come up here. Check it out.
Well played, Dad.
Live up to it. The all-new Lexus GX.
Do you want to close out?
Should I? Normally I'd hold, but taking the gains is smart here, right?
Feel more confident with stock ratings from JP Morgan analysts in the Chase app. When you've got a decision to make, the answer is JP Morgan Wealth Management.
This summer's hottest blockbuster isn't a movie. It's a spicy new wrap from Jimmy John's, starring ghost pepper cheese and introducing firecracker chips. The reviews are in. This summer, it's gonna be a hot one. Jimmy John's new firecracker wrap.
They say you're better safe than sorry. But they say a lot of things. In 1953, they said our whiskey recipe tasted perfectly fine. So we burned it and made something better. Maker's Mark. Make your mark.
Tap water. How come?
Well, because...
Whoa.
Just hours after the fatal shooting of Walter Bell, Syracuse detectives head to the residence where Walter's cousin lives with friends. Police learn they had welcomed Walter when he arrived in Syracuse.
Mr. Bell had lived with them when he first moved up from South Carolina. They were very cooperative.
The group tells police that Walter was still learning the nuances of street politics on the north side. In fact, they said Walter made a near-fatal blunder a couple days before by walking on Catherine Street, the same street where he ultimately lost his life.
They They told us that he had been shot at just a couple days before that, less than half a block from the incident. And his friends that they lived with on Lodi Street, which is right around the corner, warned him and kept telling him, hey, you shouldn't hang out over there.
Investigators consider whether Walter was unknowingly caught up in a neighborhood feud.
Mr. Bell may not have been a direct target.
They don't know if the target was Walter Bell or if it was Shavoki Bloodworth.
Detectives asked the group what they know about the other shooting victim. They say that despite what he told police at the scene, Walter and Shavoki did know each other.
Mr. Bloodworth and Mr. Bell were known as friends. They would often hang out together.
Investigators question why he would hold back.
Now, investigators want to talk to Shavoki Bloodworth to see exactly what he knows.
Before they do, one of Walter's friends offers information about a man he says is at the center of the neighborhood feud.
We heard the name of Mr. Acevedo from the friends of Mr. Bell. All he knew by his nickname, so he accompanied the police in an unmarked vehicle and pointed out the house that it turns out to be Mr. Acevedo's house.
Unfortunately, he isn't home. Investigators shift their focus back to Shavoki Bloodworth and conduct a background search.
Mr. Bloodworth had been involved in the criminal justice system. He had been arrested for dealing drugs. There was some robbery, type street robbery thing. There was probably a dispute that turned bad. So he had been around, he had been in the game, as we'll say.
In the early morning hours of October 20th, Shavoki Bloodworth agrees to come to the station for another interview. At first, Shavoki maintains his story, saying he didn't know Walter Bell or anything about the shooters.
The detectives who was talking to him, and this is over a course of a few hours, finally told him, he said, listen, the guy that you were standing there next to, he did pass away. And Mr. Bloodworth actually became emotional over this and broke down in tears. Mr. Bloodworth told the detective that, and he goes, okay, he is a friend of mine. I see him every day. And he actually even said that he felt he was a father figure to him. So then he gave a little bit more information.
Shavoki admits he has been involved in the feud and fears that he was the intended target of the shooting, not Walter.
But that's oftentimes how it works. The bad guys, they don't care. They'll take collateral damage. And oftentimes it's revenge, retaliation, revenge, retaliation.
Shavoki still says he didn't see who fired the shots, but thinks there could be a clue in Walter's dying words.
Mr. Bloodworth even tells the detective that our victim, Mr. Bell, says, look out for streets as he's dying.
Detectives recognize the nickname.
John Lundy was on parole and had just gotten out of state prison.
26-year-old Drawn is often spotted around town with his brother, 21-year-old Quincy.
Quincy and John Lundy were known to the police. They had been involved in the criminal justice system, being arrested on numerous different occasions for a variety of crimes.
That sets off a bunch of bells in the detective's head, because those brothers have a long rap sheet in the area.
Hours of the fatal shooting of Walter Bell. Investigators have the names of two men who may have been involved.
John Lundy actually had just gotten out of prison. Quincy, who's the younger brother, also has multiple arrests in the area for misdemeanors and felonies, and was also shot himself back in 2009.
Before they reach out to the brothers, investigators attempt to track down the man Walter's friends said was at the center of a neighborhood feud, 20-year-old Jason Acevedo.
Mr. Acevedo was attempted to be located a few different times. Once they finally locate him, he was very uncooperative and denied knowing anything.
Detectives refuse to give up. They continue to press Acevedo for information.
It's almost a lost art, is that one-on-one communication and trying to win over people, get them to give you information. Really is an art form. And those are the detectives that are the better detectives are people that know how to do that and actually can spend that time necessary to build a relationship.
Eventually, Jason admits to a feud between himself and the Lundy brothers.
He actually gives some of the story, the backstory too, of him being involved in physical altercations with Quincy Lundy, of actual physical fights that occurred in the street in the weeks leading up to the death of Mr. Bell.
Following the interview, investigators begin piecing together the puzzle. In the months prior, the Lundy family had filed a police report.
The Lundy's parents called in that their house was shot up. The police respond, police do a report, they look for shell casings, do what they can to investigate the crime.
No one was charged. But now, investigators consider whether Jason Acevedo was responsible.
He described the fight that he had with Mr. Lundy. He kind of got the worst of it. So that probably is what led to the shootings up of the homes of the Lundy brothers.
The belief that Acevedo was responsible left the Lundy brothers thirsty for revenge.
Their house was shot up in the months leading up to Mr. Bell's death. So they were probably going to exact revenge.
Investigators are still unsure how Walter and Shavoki got caught in the crossfire. They return to the eyewitnesses who described seeing two men flee from the scene of Walter's shooting. Investigators present them with a photo array containing mugshots of Drawn and Quincy Lundy.
They have a really good witness who identifies them, which is pretty powerful because she doesn't know them, was able to quickly point them out of a photo array. Not enough to arrest them, but then everything kept coming back to them.
Detectives reach out to the brothers, who agree to come in for a statement.
Both Lundy brothers voluntarily came in. They didn't arrive together, as I recall, but they were interviewed the same day. They didn't admit to doing this crime, but they admitted that Quincy Lundy was involved in fights with other people that hang out in that area, including Mr. Acevedo.
Quincy says he was not there. He was at home with his mom watching television. Drawn says he's nowhere near Catherine Street during the shooting. He wasn't even on the north side. And that was something that could be easily verified at that time because he had on an ankle bracelet.
Drawn was released from New York State Prison 11 months earlier with a GPS tracking device as a condition of his probation.
The detectives spoke with parole officials. They had said that Mr. Lundy was nowhere near Catherine Street at the time of this incident.
Now they have an eyewitness on scene saying that it was the Lundy brothers, which is a complete contradiction from what they found out from the ankle monitor.
Investigators consider an alternative theory.
They're looking as, okay, so maybe Drawn wasn't there. It was Quincy there with someone else, right?
But Quincy's mom backs up his alibi, stating her son was with her on the night Walter was killed.
Now, mom, sometimes, they could be looking out for their kid, right? So we'll take that with a grain of salt, but the mom seemed earnest enough when she was interviewed and pretty certain. So the detectives are kind of back to square one.
The investigation stalls. Walter's loved ones are left in the lurch. Grieving, pregnant, and alone, Latia lives in fear.
Everybody's worried about me now because I'm in a place where I don't know anyone. I don't have any support. I left Syracuse within 24 hours of Walter passing, and I moved back to Long Island. I stopped speaking to detectives. Reason being, I started getting calls on my personal phone, and it would be people portraying to be detectives. And so now I didn't trust anyone. And I still didn't quite know the story of what happened, so I'm scared. I don't trust anyone, and I felt like they were trying to figure out where I had moved to, and I didn't want anyone to know where I was.
Hey, there he is.
How you been?
In the months following the murder of Walter Bell, his friends and family members are overwhelmed by the loss. 3 months after his death, Walter's daughter is born.
I gave birth January 29th, 2013. And she was born prematurely. She was born at 28 weeks. When I looked at my baby, I looked at her and I broke down and cried. Reason being, the first thing that I saw when I looked at her, she looked just like her dad did, laying in the casket.
He always talk about when I have a little girl, her name's gonna be Destiny Nicole Bell. All the time, he just wanted a little girl. He got what he finally wanted, and he's not here for it.
Adding to the family's pain, the investigation into Walter's murder is at a standstill. His killer, or killers, are still out there. In the summer of 2013, almost 9 months after the shootings, Jason Acevedo is arrested in connection with a string of burglaries. But Jason has another crime on his mind.
Mr. Acevedo, with his conjunction with his lawyer, thought it might be in his best interest to now cooperate in this case to give a more satisfactory resolution to his pending felonies. So his lawyer reached out to the police in the district attorney's office and volunteered his client to cooperate.
Jason reveals that he was there when Walter Bell was shot and can tell them exactly who committed the crime.
Prosecutors make a deal, offering Jason Acevedo a reduced sentence in exchange for testimony.
Jason reveals that on October 19, 2012, he was standing on the sidewalk talking to Walter Bell and Shavoki Bloodworth when he was approached by the Lundy brothers. And it was at that point, shots rang out.
Acevedo says both Lundy brothers pulled out guns and started firing at him, Walter, and their friend, Shavoki Bloodworth.
It appears from the investigation, Mr. Acevedo was actually a primary target. That's probably the guy they really would like to have shot that night.
But Jason escaped unscathed. He fled the scene and didn't know Walter had been killed until he saw it on the news 2 weeks later.
His background, if you will, his basis of knowledge that he finally comes through with is pretty high. And so, his credibility, though he's looking out for his own best interest, his credibility in this case is good.
But his statement goes against what would appear to be irrefutable evidence. The data from Drawn Lundy's ankle bracelet.
So that's when they would go back to the ankle monitor and actually start to look at it more closely. In Onondaga County, we have a crime analysis center. One of the analysts there, they were able to look at it more scientifically, and that's when they realized that that the first parole officer looked at it and misread it, or possibly wasn't looking at the actual time that the detective gave him. All of a sudden, okay, boom.
Drawn, in fact, was on Catherine Street that night. At that point, detectives immediately issue a warrant for Drawn Lundy's arrest for the second-degree murder of Walter Bell.
Based on Jason Acevedo's statement, authorities also issue an arrest warrant for Quincy Lundy. He turns himself in.
He was re-interviewed, but didn't give a lot of information. He was arrested for murder in the second degree.
Drawn Lundy remains at large.
They asked the family for Drawn to call them. They had said, well, he's in Texas somewhere. He actually does call the detectives within a day or two and actually left an address that he lived in. But the address was was a fraudulent one. So the U.S. Marshals Task Force in that area started to knock on doors and see if they could find Mr. Lundy.
Marshals and putting pressure on his family.
The police up here at Syracuse still knocking on grandma's and parents' doors. Those efforts must have been enough. Mr. Lundy actually, within a few days thereafter, walks in and turns himself in to a police department down outside of Dallas, Texas. And then he's arrested and later extradited back here to face the charges.
When they finally get John Lundy in custody, he's sticking to the story that he was not anywhere near Catherine Street and that he only heard about the gunshots. But police knew there was more to the story.
Drawn and Quincy Lundy are tried together in October 2014. Latia attends the trial with Walter's mother.
I want to look these guys in their face. I want to know what happened and why it happened.
Deputy Mark Chapman is assigned to transport the brothers to and from court each day.
My partner and I were present throughout the whole trial because of the brothers' custody status. They looked like, college students. They were very quiet, very disciplined in the courtroom.
Quincy Lundy's attorney sticks to the story that Quincy has nothing to do with this shooting and he was at home with his mother. And his mother continues to corroborate the story. She takes the stand to testify for him, but Quincy himself doesn't take the stand. Drawn, on the other hand, takes the stand in his own defense. He admits to the criminal history and admits to the feud with Acevedo, but is adamant about the fact that he had nothing to do with the shooting and did not shoot anyone.
This case was, somewhat circumstantial. We didn't have a murder weapon. They didn't have fingerprint evidence. They didn't have DNA evidence. There wasn't, clear, perfect video. There wasn't a confession. I pictured myself as a juror saying, this could go either way.
Prosecutors attempt to bolster their case by calling the county medical examiner.
Dr. Stoppinger's testimony, they have ways to follow the bullet path as it enters and potentially exits the body. The doctor testified that it appeared that the rounds striking Mr. Bell came from a downward angle. After his testimony, the court took a brief recess. We escorted both brothers from the courtroom to a holding area adjacent to the courtroom and secured them in a holding cell.
Officer Chapman and his partner listen in as the brothers discuss the testimony.
Quincy Lundy said, this doctor is very good for us, for our case. And they then went on to say that it's good for us because we were shooting from up the hill. My partner and I, we look at each other in kind of disbelief. We're like, they basically just confessed to each other that they were shooting.
When the trial resumes, the deputies tell prosecutors what they overheard.
I was hesitant, but law enforcement, we have to adapt. And we did. We testified to exactly what we heard that day.
On October 24th, 2014, the jury returns its verdict.
They were both found guilty of murder in the second degree in Honda County Court and were sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. It wasn't just justice for Walter Bell and his family. It was an effort to stop the violence, right? We're always looking to try to stop the violence because this would have kept going.
When the verdict came in, I got a call from Tia. I was happy, but I said still don't take away the pain because, it's no sin that's gonna amount to the amount of pain that it caused us. I guess we just have to learn to deal with it.